What's going on, YouTube? So today we have yet another new vehicle coming onto the channel. So in the previous video, when we went to go pick up the frames, you might have noticed in the background there was a rolling chassis. It was just the frame, axles, and wheels. That was previously Brandon's. He's the one that has the gray frame with the green truck. He had bought a silver truck that was in a previous video that we tore apart because it supposedly had 100 over injectors, 12mm pump, a bunch of stuff that he wanted to rob off of it. The motor had a cracked piston, so we were basically tearing it down for parts. He was going to use all the stuff that was in it, but that's a whole different video. The truck ended up not having any of that stuff, so he parted it out, and what he was left with was the frame, well, basically the rolling chassis with the cab. The cab was shot, and so we took the cab off, scrapped it. It went in with the single cab frame that I just tore out, and so I ended up buying that rolling chassis off of him for a specific reason that we'll go over in a second here. So here's the frame. I basically stripped it all down already. Took the fuel lines, brake lines, wiring harness, all that other crap is taken off. I really don't need anything other than the frame itself. As you can see, it's in a little bit rough shape. So it's going to get sandblasted, epoxy primed, and then painted. As for the suspension, like I said, I don't need any of that stuff. Steering is taken out of it already, the front diff. So after that's done, it's going to go on the truck that I just bought. I bought another LBZ, if you couldn't tell. And this one I'm pretty excited about because it's got some things that I've never had on a truck before. It's clean. It came from Georgia. I don't know. It was a good deal, so I had to get it. Facebook Marketplace, you know, it gets you like that sometimes. Needs a little bit of work. I wouldn't call it nice, but it's clean and it's solid, so it's a good start. Like I said, it came from Georgia, so there's no rust on the rockers or the frame or the doors, anything like that. However, this bedside was replaced. As you can tell, it's still got the E-coat on it, so this is gonna have to be painted. Yeah, I don't know why it was replaced. This truck was bought from an auction, and then it was shipped up to Michigan, and that's where I bought it from. So it's got its dings and dents, paint chips. Like I said, it's like nowhere near perfect. This bottom quarter on the bed right here is pretty rough. As you can see, it's dented in quite a few spots. It's got dings and dents everywhere. It could use a good PDR or something like that. And we got some on the bottom of the door here too. But nothing too big of a deal. I can, since I know how to paint, it's not going to be a terrible dilemma. The big issue is over here on the passenger side. As you can see, the fender is pushed into the door, and that was caused by somebody hitting not this wheel, but the wheels that were on it before, which I do not know which wheels were on it, but someone smacked it dead center of this wheel here, and it pushed the lower control arm in, which caused the frame to bend. And you can kind of tell here on this cross member because it's almost in like a V shaped. So when they hit that, it pulled the frame, or it pushed the frame in, pulled the core support this way, and it crunched the fender towards the door. So you can kind of tell in here, this fender, a little bent. This surface is supposed to be flat, and the core support is pulled back because you can kind of tell with the bumper, the gap of the bumper, and by the headlight. So this headlight is pulled way back as well due to the core support. So the other thing I noticed is the cab bolt up front here is also crooked because it pushed the frame in. So that is why there's a frame outside. You can kind of tell here that the wheel is just not centered in the wheel well. So yeah, why did I buy it? I'll show you. A sunroof. So yeah, don't mind the interior because it's also disgustingly dirty. Needs a good clean. But yeah, it's got a sunroof. And for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted a truck with a sunroof. So when this one popped up, I went and looked at it. Kind of tossed the idea around while I was there because I didn't know how in-depth I wanted to get into it, as I've already got other projects going on. But since Brandon already had a frame that he was looking to get rid of, I figured, you know, it's not going to cost that much. It's just going to be a lot of labor, which I could honestly knock it out in probably 2 weekends. I did notice, however, that this truck was probably a farm truck, or at least definitely used for work. This thing is beat. Take a look at this tailgate here. It is like bowing in right there. And then the bed floor is pretty shot. It also bows down between the rails like that. So yeah, this thing probably had stuff thrown in it or thrown onto the tailgate a lot. The top of the truck is sun faded. It's not, there's no paint peel, but you can definitely feel it with your hands. The clear coat is peeling off a little bit. I think it's peeling off on top of the doors too. But bumper, this is a 1500 bumper. So someone tried to, I think, fix it before it was sold. The other thing I noticed is that this thing has all brand new front end parts on it. So lower control arms, upper control arms. The I don't know if the CVs are new, but as you can tell by the ball joints, those are new. The tie rods, the pitman and idler arm. I don't know if they replaced the steering gear or not, but it's got brand new shocks all the way around. So most of the stuff's going to be like a direct swap onto the new frame. But yeah, the fender flares are, these aren't going to be staying, but either way, the clear coat's chipping on those. I'm getting rid of these dorky looking things. I hate these mirrors. These things are so ugly. I already bought sport mirrors for it. But I think the best thing about this old truck though is that even with like 360,000, I think is what's on it, it does not leak a drop of anything. So the motor, the trans, none of the power steering lines leak. This needs to be fixed real quick. It's got a Banks intake on it that's not really doing much because it's not connected. But the coolant system does not pressurize. The motor does not have any blow-by. It does have a tune on it, but the DSP5 switch is disassembled, which means that it's stuck in tune 1 until there's a new switch put on it, which is kind of good because that means it probably wasn't beat on too much. How hard can you beat on something on a stock tune? But the alternator looks fairly new. The power steering lines look pretty new as well. So first thing I love to do with these trucks is take off all the unnecessary crap. The EGR, the resonator that's on top of the motor. I like taking the firewall blanket off because it cleans it up. I've had issues with those blankets where they lay on the turbo. That's one thing that can start a fire. I've seen it before. It's not good. Let's see what else. If the truck's not going to get driven in the cold, I'll usually pull the glow plug module off because I don't know about you, but if you've never owned an LBZ, or if you have owned an LBZ, the biggest check engine light issue with these trucks are from the glow plugs. I don't know what the deal is with the glow plugs or the modules or whatever, but like every single LBZ that I've owned or came across has an check engine light on for a glow plug, unless it's been replaced recently. So, like I said, I don't understand what the issues with these glow plugs, but there's always glow plug issues. Another thing I noticed is that it's got a new AC Delco fuel filter on it. I love seeing AC Delco stuff on these trucks. That means they were probably well maintained if the owner is willing to spend that much on a filter. Like I said, it's pretty stock. There's really nothing done to it other than the tune and exhaust, which the exhaust is kind of quiet. I don't know. I had a 4-inch on my white LBZ, and that truck was pretty loud. There's no muffler or anything on this truck, and it's quiet. So we're gonna have to change that because I like my diesels loud. Recent transmission service though, because it's got a deep pan on it, and it looks like there's a new pan gasket on there too. So that's also a plus. I don't know. So far, I'm impressed. I like it. I'm gonna probably end up pulling these moldings off along with the fender flares because I like it like that. I pulled this in to get under it so I could crank the keys up to try and alleviate the tire rub, which is on the fenders, or the fender I should say, right here on the back fender, because since this wheel is pushed further back into the wheel well, but it is also hitting the frame right down here. So this body mount right here, it's hitting. However, the keys are already all the way cranked up, so not much I can do there. This tire is like a 34-inch tire, or almost a 35. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap these guys out, hopefully with a smaller wheel and tire that I have in the back, and hopefully it won't rub anymore. This truck isn't going to be the usual rip it down completely and then take 8 months to a year to put it back together. I'm going to try to work on it every now and then, so it's probably going to be like a repaint panel by panel. So with the white truck that I had, my white LBZ, I put a new bed on it. I did that separately, so it's probably going to be somewhere like the same process probably. I'm not going to go crazy like I did the white LB7 when I pulled the whole thing apart and painted it and all the other stuff. So I'll probably just, for now, make it drivable until I get the frame done, and then I'll probably do like headlights or some small stuff like that for now. I don't want this to be a full-blown show truck. It's going to be nice, it's going to be clean, it'll be simple. I need something that's just a good, reliable daily driver that I'm not going to get in every time and then stress out about whether it's going to break.